Well, home for me is only 400 kilometres down the road to Townsville. Well, sun shines. This is winter. It does get cool at night, but, you know, it's a top place, isn't it? Well, it's very picturesque. It's got the mountains and everything. And I mean, I was up here for the opening meeting, and I mean, it'd been raining, so everything's nice and green and everything. I mean, it's a little bit dried out now, but I mean, look around you. I mean, where else are you going to get this on a winter's day?
It's an awesome facility. You just got to take a look around. The mountains in the background. The place has got a vibe like we've never felt before. This place will be packed tonight.
Honestly, it's just an awesome facility in the backyard. Hopefully it's going to be one of the biggest things they've ever seen in their life. I mean, drag racing used to be full of family people on the hill, you know what I mean? Mums, dads, kids and everything. I believe the wheel stands are getting the kids in because they think they're awesome. The Nitro funny cars were impressing mum and dad. They're like, oh wow, look at these things, you know.
Beautiful place. Like, the place is awesome. The guys are great. They've done a massive job on the track already. Like, you know, this is only their third meeting on this track, and here we are bringing these cars out here.
FNQ, people think it stands for Far North Queensland. It stands for Funny Car Nitro Quick.
Gotta love it. FNQ may well mean Funny Car Nitro Quick, but I also think it stands for Funny Car Nitro Queensland. Hi everyone, welcome to Springmount Raceway, 100 k's west of Cairns here in this food bowl region of Australia, and there is a big crowd rolling in for a big night of Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro funny cars. Let's bring it on.
Well, there is a huge air of anticipation heading into this one. Springmount Raceway is ready for the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Car Show. Wade Oranger joining me for this one, and this crowd, Wade, is definitely excited.
What is not to love about all this, Chad? Huge crowd here, loads of kids, and we are about to shake the sky here at Cairns.
We have 10 Nitro Funny Cars in the house. They're all lined up. This is the traditional salute to the crowd. We're about to fill this brand new venue with Nitro. Oh, it's going to be good. By firing up 10 Nitro funny cars. You get the feeling it's going to be an incredible first event here at Springmount. This crowd is absolutely ready.
What an amazing backdrop we've got here. Look at that, mate. You've got mountain ranges in the background. You've got plenty of Nitro in the foreground, starting with the wheel standers. Great conditions, a little bit windy. Spare a thought for these guys, Chad, on the back wheels and the wind at over 160 k's an hour.
Looking through the floor of these cars, steering them with the rear brakes. And this is going to be a big win for the Nitro Sheriff to kick the night off. Going through the finish line at way over 100 k's per hour on the back wheels, Wade. Unreal.
There's got to be easier ways to spend an afternoon, doesn't it?
Look at the phones.
Yes.
Everyone's trying to get a piece of the action tonight at Springmount.
Well, there's been so much anticipation coming into this event. People of Cairns have been ready for this for months now, so to finally see it all playing out is absolutely remarkable. Coming up, it's round one of the Nitro cars. Everybody's amped. This is going to be epic.
has been a good run for the Red Devil since the debut at Sydney. It's been on the podium more times than not, which is good. It's going to be a different kettle of fish here this weekend. The track's green and it's going to be a driver's race, I think. Willowbank was an awesome meeting for us, and you know, we could have changed the tune up on that last run, but we didn't. We left it the way it was, and the track got really cold, but it stuck, and yeah, it was a good run. This weekend you probably should see 580s. The racetrack's new, so yeah, but it'll still be good side-by-side racing, and that's what we're here for. Put on a show. It's good. The Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Car series is going from strength to strength, and it'll only get better from here, bigger and bigger. Springmount Raceway, what can you say about this place? They've put together an awesome racetrack. You know, the view around here, the mountains in the background. Like, we came up here not long ago with 2 cars. They got over 6,000 people on the hill. So with 10, they're going to pack the place out tonight.
Well, after all the hype, all the excitement, it's now finally time to get into the first round of racing. 3 points for a victory, 1 point for a loss, and you motor on through. This is not elimination style. And wait, we lower the body down on one of the heavy hitters here today.
Now, one of the real big environmental factors in all of this today, it's really windy. It's quite gusty out here. Now, we're talking about big-bodied cars that will be affected by crosswinds and the like. So, man, if you thought these guys were brave on a normal day at work, imagine what it's like right now out in the open fields.
How awesome is the LA Hooker? This car has been in the hands of a few American racers over the years. Now it's in the hands of this guy, West Aussie Anthony Begley, backing her on up against one bad Kiwi. Another thing about that wind, Wade, it's swung around to be more of a tailwind now, but it is putting a little bit of dust on the racetrack. So getting the perfect pass here today with these conditions, very difficult. Be ready to watch the drivers using that thing in their hand right now, the brakes, to try and get the wheel speed down, try and get these cars to the finish line.
Have a look at the crowd off to the right-hand side. They are jammed in this place, and the expectation is absolutely massive. McMillan, one bad Kiwi. Can he take care of Begley? Begley with a lot of nitro experience in these cars.
Here we go. This is the moment they've waited for. One bad Kiwi yet to get a first round win since joining the competition. Could be about to change here, but LA Hooker is a tough opponent. Oh, it's a red light. It's a red light for the LA Hooker. First to the finish line with a big storming run, but it'll be the other lane. 6:30, huge speed, great pass, Maurice McMillan.
I think the whole of Australia was hoping that Begley could even things up against the Kiwis, but McMillan has just done the job. Look at that from a perspective point of view. They are just ripping it up here.
Tell you what, it wasn't the perfect pass, one bad Kiwi. You can see right there, it's got a lot of raw nitro hosing out of the right-hand side of the engine, so it put out cylinders straight away. Things get a little bit twisted inside the cockpit of a funny car.
You think there's much going on inside that cockpit?
Busy, you can see him reach up towards the roof to get those chutes, but that's what I was talking about, Wade. One bad Kiwi hosing raw nitro, and that'll see the car lose horsepower as it goes down the track.
Still, the points are in the bag, aren't they? So McMillan off to a very good start, and aren't they loving it? They are just loving it here. Next battle to come up, we go on board with Dark Horse. If this is the first time you're seeing this series, folks, it is built around entertainment. It's built at larger-than-life motor cars as well as the drivers. I'm not going to say the drivers are incidental, but the characters that are created around this is what makes it so unique. Never get sick of that sound.
Something very American Nitro about that camera angle too, where they stand up on the big Goodyear Eagle tyres. This guy's in hot form. And you never ride off the Dark Horse.
He's just a scary looking dude. Forget how he drives, he's just a scary looking cat.
I want to show you something here, Wade. Let's Boogie had issues at the last round of the, not championship, but our last outing for the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Car Show. Just listen to the chaos in the deep end here, left of screen. They're not meant to sound like that.
No.
And unfortunately, that was the end of the night with those engine dramas for Justin Walsh. So he'll be looking to right that wrong. And that came off a good win in Perth too. So definitely got the potential to be one of the contenders here. He'll be expecting 3 points early on. Great shot of the new injector hats that we are running in this series now. The new carbon fiber ones, very much aligned with the top fuel car.
Everything is BAD A55 in this series. Nothing is left to chance. Let's boogie. How appropriate. Idle range at the moment.
Yeah, 2,600 RPM. That'll drop down about 200 RPM right now when they go to 100% fuel. Just listen to this. It's eerie, it's power, and it's another red light.
Wow.
Let's Boogie will get the win. Boogie's on down with a pedal job.
Yeah, I was going to say, he had to step it, didn't he? 651 at 332.
Hang on, Wade, hang on. We're going deep here.
Oh, man.
Well, we said there's a strong tailwind here today. And Justin Walsh has parked it in the beach. There's the pedal. You can see the butterflies close, open, close. But the big problem came, look at that, still waiting for those chutes to come out.
That is only a split second of that in real time, but it would be an eternity between when he finds the chute coming out.
Fantastic shot from up above. You can see that huge crowd, this brand new venue. But just look to the right, it was putting out cylinders, waiting, yep, still waiting for those chutes. And at this high altitude as well, there's not a lot of air up here, Wade, so even when those chutes do come out, they don't have such an effect like they would at, say, Willowbank or Sydney.
Mate, there are better ways to see Cairns than over 300 k's an hour with the chutes gone out the back, that's for sure.
I'd prefer to spend a day out on the reef, maybe, snorkeling.
He nearly did that.
These guys on the beach in a different way. The good news is that car looks okay. Justin's okay. He'll be back for round 2. But we're not through with round 1 yet as we check out some amazing shots of the wharf. There's so much to see up in far North Queensland, the mangroves, and this brilliant new venue, Springmount Raceway. More to come after this. Fire in the hole! Trying to make some more noise at Springmount Raceway. That wind, it's picking up. But that's not going to stop Shane Olive and the Red Devil.
He's in great touch, isn't he? Took care of Rick, just destroyed his dreams at Willowbank, of course. The Red Devil really in good touch as we come into Cairns. Have a look at the Aeroflow banners in the background. It gives you an idea of the crosswinds that are operating here at this circuit.
Haven't really seen a clean pass yet. Right hand on that handbrake. So he gasses it with the right foot. A little bit of smoke coming into the cabin and then pull back on that brake to just whoa it up.
And it's not that you see the right leg go down, it's that you see the left leg come up. How proud is this man to have this all happening in his backyard, Harold Campbell? Insanity.
Well, Shane Olive in unbelievable form. This is the last time he actually lost a race. It was in Perth in summertime, losing to Justin Walsh, but then followed that up brilliantly. That huge win recently at Willowbank in the cooling conditions. And Wade, that came off another win at Portland too. So he is the man to beat in this championship right now.
He's only got one win less than Rick Dorsey. Rick has the most amount of wins in the series thus far. Since its history, we come up on 3 seasons of the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro funny cars. Great aerial shot. And Harold's got his hands full right here, but hey, it's a day for upsets.
They're fighting for those amazing billet trophies, the rocket trophies.
Just love that eye shot.
And the Red Devil, or the man driving it, has been taking a trophy home now in the last 7 events. Incredible form. Just knows how to kick it off. He always wins that first round. Just gets 3 points in the bag straight away. But this racetrack, Wade, very difficult to master right now. So as they just play with that last little adjustment to make sure that the idle is perfect.
And the cool part is no one has any data here because there's been no testing, there's been no previous rounds. The whole place is brand spanking new, so it's time to get after it with a clean sheet. Look at those eyes. We are good to go. Oh, how lazy was Olive?
It gave Campbell a bit of a head start, but chased him down 6:09. but that was by no means a clean pass by Shane Olive's standards. He was one of the drivers that did at least get to do a couple runs up here at the opening race with Rick Gorse in the other lane, but conditions today completely different. So you're right, they have zero data to draw on, really. That was dropping cylinders too. Out the left bank this time.
Really, Shane was asleep at the lights by his own standards.
When the wheels are spinning like this, there's no load on the engine. And so what essentially happens is all that fuel pouring in, but it's not being burnt, so it has to jettison out the pipes. That's what a drop cylinder is. But it did not matter. He still got down the racetrack, and the Red Devil picks up 3 valuable points, even if it does come at the stake of a hometown hero up here.
And that's the other part about this series as well. There is no qualifying as such.
That time you fire it up is pretty much the time that you go out there and compete.
Yeah. And I think that's cool because it literally means you have to be game on right from the start. There's no 2 or 3 qualifying runs. It's like literally get it done. But the other cool part is that you run against everyone. The Chicago shootout style where nobody gets eliminated. So if you show up as a spectator, you pay your money to get in, you see every car run every time.
The Bumblebee's about to take flight. Up here in far North Queensland.
These guys are into demolition. Hoping to demolish a few high-profile names this weekend. And the Stormtrooper. Not supposed to have favourites, but this is one of mine.
This is one for the movie buffs, isn't it? Bumblebee versus Stormtrooper. This thing is a real crowd pleaser. Big favourite of the kids. His daughter Chelsea just at the front there doing the reverse gear job, as we call it in the industry. Actually, Greg met his lovely wife up in this part of the world in Cairns in the 80s when he used to live here in a bar. He says she was working, I was drinking. And they met 25 years ago or something. I've been married now. This is the man I talk about, Greg Lay and Stormtrooper. They even came up here a week ago to spend a bit of time at Port Douglas, just enjoy themselves up here in far North Queensland.
And you could say that's an expensive round back in the day when you look back at probably what's been outlaid over the years. Bumblebee rolling back. Donnelly, I think, started to show some real improvement, particularly at Willowbank.
Totally, and he's a gun at the tree. Very quick at the lights is the youngest driver that we have here in competition, Jake Donnelly. That'll serve him well, considering how close this competition is. Crew chief's just making those last adjustments. And the starter points them into the beams. Just on the Stormtrooper, did have issues at Willowbank. This is the first time he got down the racetrack without experiencing tyre shake, but it rattled him eventually across the centre line and smashing into those cones, doing some damage, but at least they're starting to get a handle on this car. It's amazing, this thing never looked like going straight.
Yeah, despite the wild ride, he was still pretty animated at the deep end.
First pass I've done in this car without it shaking the tyres, and you were here, and I'm going, Jesus, and the next thing I hit high gear and I got to about 800 foot and it starts going like this. And I went, I think it'll be all right, I think it'll be all right. Oh, it's not going to be all right.
You know, race car drivers use their hands for 2 things. To drive and then to talk about it later. You try and get a race car driver to explain how he steers a thing without using his hands, you got no chance. Bumblebee up against the Trooper here at Cairns.
Oh, that sounds terrible, the Stormtrooper. Bumblebee will get the win.
He shut off early as well at 6:44 at 312 kilometres an hour, and there are issues with the Stormtrooper.
I thought the Stormtrooper didn't sound right in the burnout, but sometimes with the Nitro car, you can never really tell. Sometimes they'll clear their throat, so to speak. That's a timing issue. That car is really lazy.
It's like that thing was caught in a tractor beam or something, Chad, because it did not get off the line.
Good news for Stormtrooper, still gets a point despite the loss. So there's still a chance of getting one of those rocket trophies. Jake Donnelly in the Bumblebee, 3 points for him. Never won one of those trophies before. Could today be the day?
Love this camera angle. Camera actually mounted on the starter unit right here. And speaking of those rocket trophies, they are epic. If you get your hands on one of those, they are very, very cool. We talked about it earlier on, Chad, certainly the windy and quite dusty conditions at times as well, but it's a brand new playing field for everybody. Yes, we had a couple of cars come up and do a demonstration run at the opening event for this circuit, but the organisers and the promoters and the creators of the circuit have done a wonderful job up here.
I couldn't agree more. This venue is fabulous. The crowd are right into it. One of the most vocal crowds we've heard A few drivers have likened it to Benarabi in the terms of the way that the crowd has just embraced this event. Here comes Nitro Express.
Do not write this man off at any racetrack. Currently the winningest driver in this series, as we see Darren Fry in the Bandit Time Bandit entry. He thought he had it, Willowbank. Thought he absolutely had his hands on that Rocket Trophy. And we saw Shane Olive just rip it right out of his fingertips.
It was an exciting final round. And this will be a real telling moment right now because Rick Gorsey has done just about more passes than anyone. He and Shane Olive are the most experienced guys we have, and they've even raced here before. So if he can get down the track, or if he struggles to get down the track, we'll know that, you know, it's very much the fact that this is a new place. There's a lot of dust out there today because of all this wind. So let's see how Rick and this amazing team that Graham Cowan's put together, tuning these cars, gets down this racetrack. And there is the man himself, GC.
Yeah, absolutely, off to the left. What's it called when you just love the sound of them even backing up? Because I just love that crackle as they back them up, let alone when they launch. What a spectacular backdrop at this circuit as GC brings Rick into stage.
Put some new diff gears in the rear end of this car for the Nitro Express. It's done a few passes now, so it needed a bit of a freshen up.
And there's not much time to turn around between runs either. It's like wham, bam, get back out there each time in between rounds. Nitro up against Bandit. Here at a packed house in Cairns.
Oh, well, you don't see that very often. Rick Gorsey red lights his way down the quarter mile, which hands the win over to Darren Fry and the Bandit. Oh man, nearly 400 clicks.
What is it about the hoodoo in the left-hand lane today?
Yeah.
We've had 3 red lights so far in the left-hand lane.
I don't know, all this wind and dust may be playing havoc with it as well. Hard to say. Like we said, new venue, so could have something to do with it as well, but not very often would you ever see Nitro Express light up a red light in slow motion. The sheer violence of these cars is, well, easy for all to see. You can see those rear tyres scrunching up and then rattling, so that's exactly at the point where the track goes from concrete to tarmac. A lot of drivers saying that that is a difficult part to get around here today. It's a magnificent place to go racing. What a setting it is, Springmount Raceway. Another quick break, and on the other side of this, we're going to hear how these teams have been dealing with this new venue. You're watching the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro funny cars from Springmount Raceway. A big first round of racing has been completed. Dean is in the pits with more.
Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro funny cars are unpredictable. We just saw that with this guy, Justin Walsh. Justin, what happened in the shutdown zone? A wild ride.
Oh, look, Dean, hard to say, you know, new track and it's such a big flat paddock, it's like a mirage. You think that braking area is longer than what it really is. Comes up on you fast. I had a handful of brake, I had the chutes out and the car just wanted to slide. No excuses though, but I kept the car in one piece, went in straight. We'll get it clean, we'll get it back out there for the second round.
The man that drives the car we call the Chev, the Nitro Express, man, you had to manhandle that car in that round.
Oh, it was a handful. I wasn't sure what to actually do in that pass because it just started shaking. I knew if I put it in top gear, it was going to blow the tyres off, so I was hanging on to the brake and it was shaking, trying to work the brake, and finally it just settled down. It felt like half of the track, and then it was all right and it got me to the end, so it was a lucky one. We got out of jail.
I guess the other thing is, explain to everyone what tyre shake actually is and what's the causes of it.
What it does, it causes, there's 2 reasons. It's either underpowered or it's overpowered. In this case, it was overpowered, so I was trying to settle down with the brake, which was getting a fine line between underpowered and overpowered, and it just took ages to get it right because the track's a little bit inconsistent as you get down there. But after this round, the track should come around now, so we should be a lot better now.
You are starting to stick some Red Devil sauce up your rivals, mate. You were the quick guy at that round.
We're trying. Track's a bit tricky. It's very skated down the other end. I think it dropped the cylinder, so I was only running on maybe 7 on that run. But we had to fight it, get it away from the wall, but still 6-0 and I was off it before 1,000, so.
Still an amazing effort for a new facility, and how about that crowd?
Crowd's awesome, isn't it? Like, doesn't get any better than that. This place is, what a vibe, you know? I hope we get to come back again next year.
I'm sure they will. Keep punching.
Thanks, man.
Hi, I'm Morris McMillan, driver of the One Bad Kiwi Nitro Funny Car. We're going to go through today a few of the routines that we do when racing these cars. A lot of people wonder what the crew chief is doing to the motor before the car goes into stage. Basically, that crew chief is setting the idle, which is important to how we leave because these cars leave off an idle. Why do we leave off an idle in a nitro car? There's a few reasons. A, consistency, what the crew chief sets the car to on the start line, the idle is always going to be the same. For the other reason, we don't need to rev them up because of the power nitro makes. You can see the flames, you can understand that these things make over 4,000 horsepower, so we don't need to rev them any harder to make the power. We then roll into pre-stage. We have the handbrake on hard. We pull the fuel right onto full, so we're running all the fuel into the motor. At this point, we'll take our foot right off the clutch, and you'll hear the motor drop down to a really deep crackling tone. At that point, we are holding the entire weight of the car and the entire power of the motor just on the handbrake. As I'm sure you can see, there's absolutely no room to put a foot brake, so we have a handbrake. That works mechanically basically the same as a normal braking foot brake. It's just operated by the hand. These things have carbon brakes on them, so all the discs are carbon. That's the reason why we can hold the 4,000 horsepower these cars have on the start line with the clutch off. So you're basically putting everything you got into the weight of the handbrake. You modulate it in so the car will roll forward slightly. Once both those pre-stage beams are on, brake on really hard. As soon as you see a flash of amber, you drop that brake, smash that pedal, and off you go.
This crowd absolutely enjoying the show that has arrived in far North Queensland, and the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars are set to continue with their second round of racing after this. Day has turned into night up in North Queensland. We're racing 100 k's west of Cairns. And out here, there's no one to hear these amazing engines, so we can crank them up as loud as we can for the thousands of people that have shown up to see them race tonight.
And now it's a completely new dimension because now you got flames in the night sky. This is as good as it gets. You know that Rick is fired up. Nitro Express, a red light in his first round. He's got, seriously, got to make up for that. When you think about it, LA Hooker, or Hugh Grant as I like to call him, had exactly the same problem. Red light in the first round as well.
So they're both on 1 point, and the wind is picking up above this magnificent venue.
Yeah, in fact, look at the steam in the background of the refinery, but in the distance. That gives you an idea, too, of just how fiercely it's blowing across the grounds here. Begley needs to step it up, so too does this man. We're on board with Nitro Express, and the fans are going to get a dose now of what this is all about. Nighttime nitro racing.
Rick tried to drive that first round of racing with one hand on the brake, knowing that it was going to break into wheel spin at some point, courtesy of the fact that this is a new venue and definitely a bit dusty. But he felt a bit of a shudder when he was doing that, so maybe a potential brake issue with this car. Not what you need when the brake is so just vital part of getting down the racetrack when it's like this. Very marginal. Two drivers who need a win.
Not much in that. That's a good drag race, but good result too. LA Hooker, strong, a 591 at 371 k's now. That's an upset right there.
Race of the day, all night so far, and LA Hooker gives Rick Gorsey one of the worst starts to an event that he's ever had. He's on 2 points after 2 races. I can't remember the last time that happened, and that was a win that LA Hooker needed. So they race in the shadows, under lights.
Still wriggling around a fair bit as well when you think they're doing over 350 k's an hour. We take a look at the journey from Nitro Express's point of view. A bit of tyre shake there as well, and Begley takes care of him in round 2. Now, we talked about the dust before as well, Chad. I guess what that's doing is actually making the surface quite unpredictable, quite skatey, I would think.
Well, you're not wrong, and if it gets any worse, Wade, I wouldn't be surprised if our officials do call a stop to things tonight. So hopefully we can keep racing, but driver safety always paramount. Darren Fry appears once again, and Greg Lay, off the back of his first round loss. I think they fixed that timing issue by the sound of it too. Much sweeter in the burnout.
Now this is the battle of the great movies. No doubt about it, Stormtrooper up against the Bandit. Has anyone sent Burt Reynolds a photo of this thing? Darren Fry off to a great start already, and Lay, not so much. Greg needs a win badly, and Fry, as you know, had a big win in round 1 in the Bandit, so he wants to back that up, literally.
Greg Lay took this car from Graham Cowan with its original setup in it, which was very aggressive, and he's been suffering from tyre shake ever since, really, as they just adjust the throttle bodies on the right-hand side of the Bandit.
These weather conditions would be pretty different for these guys too in terms of engine management, I would think as well, Chad.
Well, we're up so high in terms of altitude, 3,500 feet tonight, which is putting it up there with like Denver, Colorado, to use an NHRA term, so very difficult to try and get that fuel-to-air mixture right in these engines. So many variables tonight. Oh, straight into tyre smoke for the Bandit. Whoa, huge moment for the Stormtrooper. Oh no, he got the centre line too. So he'll be disqualified.
But what a drive job. Now, is that an indication of what the dust is doing?
Could very well be. I know they were trying to slip the clutch in this run, Greg Lay. Aaron Hambridge helping with that tune-up. Just wasn't enough. Again, Wade, it's where the concrete turns into tarmac right there. Hazes those tyres.
Man, that could have been ugly. That is a great job to save that. It was all going swimmingly. He had this thing nailed.
The team are up. They thought they had it. But hitting those cones is instant disqualification, and they know it.
And it's windy. It's dusty. No one's got any much data apart from what they did in the first round. There's a lot of crews thrashing here, and spare a thought for the guys on board, including this man, the local hope, the local hero on Insanity. That's very well what it might be, getting down the quarter mile here.
This is a real driver's track tonight. You hear it often in circuit racing. They say rain is the great leveler. Well, tonight we're seeing something very similar with this racetrack. It's difficult to get down, which means if you want to get to that finish line first, you're just simply going to have to be a better driver. It's more about the drivers than the crew chiefs tonight, which isn't often the case in drag racing, which is kind of cool to see. Which gives Harold Campbell a huge chance at winning this race up against one bad Kiwi.
Again, you see in the background that banner getting traumatised by the wind. You cannot underestimate how much force these cars are under.
Maurice McMillan will know that these conditions are getting marginal, more and more so by the second, so he needs to, A, get the win here, get the 3 points, but make it a quick pass, because if we only get 2 races in tonight, that last pass, meaning this one, could mean the difference between winning or losing.
Really cool to see the tacho just down on the side like that. It's not something that you normally see in any form of motorsport.
Well, they've been moved because of these new injector hats. There's room on the side of the engine. Recently, they would have rubbed up against the body. They used to sit at the front, but they've moved them around to the side, much easier for these crew chiefs to access. Straight into stage for Harold Campbell.
Wolf Creek ain't messing around, buddy. He's going to take on this Kiwi. Oh, this looks ugly for McMillan. He got it down there in the end. Shoots.
Man, that was a good pass, 365 Ks. He's going deep as well. He's on the brake. You can hear it. Oh!
Beautiful save. You hear that in the background? One of the locals is pretty impressed with Morris.
You know, another thing about the altitude up here as we check out some replays, thanks to Aeroflow. Oh, man, that thing was smoking the tyres at half track, still went 360 odd Ks an hour. Let's just see how many times we slapped the throttle. 4, 5, 6, 7. Harold Campbell, you demon. But what I was saying...
Importantly, he never gave up.
And how about the deep end save from Maurice McMillan using the rear brakes to pull that car up, but the parachute's not as effective up here with all this altitude. As As we go off to the break, we're going to check out the wheel standers once again. They are a hit with the kids. And Nitro Sheriff making it 2 from 2 here under lights. Nice work. More to come on the other side of this. Those nitro fumes still filling the night sky, although getting pushed down the racetrack with gusts up to 100 kilometres per hour. You can see it in the flags in the background. Certainly not helping these guys stop at the other end.
It's a fairly difficult night at the office for these boys. When you think about the wind, the dust, unfamiliar conditions in terms of any data that they might have had from previous rounds. So these boys are digging deep. Paul Massinio in Dark Horse. And Shane Olive, always one to watch. Look at that. Even the sunroof is struggling against the breeze as they back him up.
And that would be a little bit off-putting as a driver. It definitely let a lot of light into the car, and usually it's your crew who would only ever operate that, so it might just be one extra factor to worry about. How about the Dark Horse at Willowbank? Second round of racing, you will never get closer to a disqualification than this. That's treading the line.
And got away with it too.
Now, with the hindsight of video, we can tell that maybe these pipes did get the, well, not maybe, definitely, but the way that Willowbank's shaped, very difficult to see the finish line from the start, so got away with that one.
And there's no video replay available to the officials. They are literally going by what the naked eye picks up at the time. You know, we talked a lot about how difficult conditions are, but I can tell you there is a bright, bright future for this championship concept at this venue. It's exciting. The fans have voted with their feet. I know that Graham Cowan and all the organisers are amped about coming up here, so I know that next year this will be bigger and badder than it was even this year.
Yeah, we're booked for August next year, by the way, so if you fancy a trip up to Cairns, next year could be the time to do it. Oh, going into stage and Shane's roof hatch has come open. I've never seen a car launch with that open before. It slammed shut at the head of the throttle. And it's a big run anyway. 585, that's the quickest run we've seen all day. The Red Devil takes 6 points with a good run too.
Well, if it was distracting, it wasn't reflected in the run, was it? Right down the guts. That is a very, very good run for Olive. He is back in town, the Devil, despite the flat popping up before he left. That's incredible.
Paul Massinio blowing one of those blocks away on the finish line. Again, the wind really howling down that part of the track. The crowd cheering on Morris McMillan as he returns. The gauntlet's been thrown down for the Bumblebee now. He's on 3 points. Needs to win and try and go quicker than that 585.
I like what I see with this guy. Really, really improving with every run. And here's another really good chance to bank some points in. Up against Let's Boogie, and let's face it, Let's Boogie went to the beach earlier today, so anything from this point will be an improvement.
That spectator mound is so close to the action here. I feel like you get your eyebrows singed with these nitro flames as they whiz on by. He's a cool kid in the Transformers-inspired car, and it's Justin Walsh in the other lane. We're looking behind him right now.
It is one wild night in Cairns, isn't it? It has had a bit of everything. We've had 2 5-second passes. That's a cool shot. The back of the wheelie bar. Man, what else could happen tonight? We're into the second round of the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars. Far North Queensland has never been lit like this before.
Team actually adjusting the height of that wheelie bar there. It changes after the burnout because all the extra heat that's building up in those big rear tyres. See the top of the blower pulley there. Team's changing those tonight, trying to find that right mixture of air to fuel because of the altitude here. Very different to what we're used to. Oh, we're up in smoke. We've got a good old-fashioned drag race, and it's the Bumblebee who wins the pedal job. And another block goes flying at the end with those chutes coming out.
It was a pedal too. If you listen very carefully on that throttle, he stepped it 2 or 3 times. was nothing in it at the start. Both reaction times pretty similar. Bumblebee in the end does the job.
Right on that transition again, out of the concrete, they both go up in smoke. It would have been using the handbrake to try and limit that wheel speed. You can hear the RPM go up.
Just think about what you just said then, having to use the handbrake as well as work the throttle, as well as steer the sucker at over 300 k's an hour in just under 6 seconds. That's crazy.
He never got back on the loud pedal in Let's Boogie. And sadly, the officials have called a stop to proceedings, so it's simply too dangerous. And that means that we have 3 drivers on 6 points, and it goes back to who set the fastest or quickest time then. And that would be Shane Olive. So that's a hat-trick of wins for Shane. Congratulations to him. Next will be Morris McMillan, and in third, Jake Donnelly.
Bumblebee was looking to sting, but unfortunately the conditions have had the last say.
Yeah, I was ready to smoke the Bandit in that last one and hopefully get 3 wins, but the weather is slippery and it's cold outside, so it's probably the right thing to do.
Great effort today. Have you had fun?
Oh, awesome. I love the track. It's killer. 1, 2 from 2, so I honestly over the moon, stoked.
Bad luck, but well done all the same.
Yeah, look, it's one of those things. We've got to take the driver safety first, so we don't want to see anyone get hurt. It's the best option. Hey, we all want to go racing, but these things happen.
I think the big crowd still got their fill of Nitro. They had a blast today.
Oh, the crowd was huge. They were passionate. They loved it. So it was really cool to see so many people here. And yeah, we'll be back to put the show on again.
Bloomin' Red Devil, you had a chance to have a crack at him in that 3rd round, but he's taken the win on the virtue of the better performance in the earlier rounds. But still, you got to be happy with 2nd.
Oh, absolutely safe. You know, you want to be on the podium. That's why you come racing. You want to win. We were looking forward to racing Shane in the final as such, but these things happen. We'll be certainly looking after that bullet trophy tonight.
The winner, he's had a devil of a run once again and cut short after 2 rounds, but well done. Shane Olive, you're the winner of this round of Springmount.
Yeah, it's not how you want to take it, but the weather's played a big part. It's really windy out here today, so but we'll take it. My crew, all these guys have done an awesome job all weekend. You know, the car's been on rails. It's been a handful to drive, but it went down there, so no, we're pleased.
There's top 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Shane Olive on the podium once again, and the first Rocket trophies to Morris McMillan and Jake Donnelly. Congratulations to those 3. What a fantastic event it's been up here in far North Queensland. Springmount Raceway is a truly great venue to race. Our next event, well, it's at the spiritual home of Nitro Funny Cars, Calder Park Raceway in Melbourne. Go to outlawnitrofunnycars.com.au for all the information. Thank you to Dean and Wade for their help. I'm Chad Nolan. We'll see you at Calder.